Insightful podcasts by informative hosts. Insights into Things, a podcast network. Welcome to Insights into Teens, a podcast series exploring the issues and challenges of today's youth. Your hosts are Joseph and Madison Whalen, a father and daughter team making their way through the challenges of the teenage years.
Welcome to Insights into Teens. This is episode 168, Compassion Through Understanding. I'm your host, Joseph Whalen, and my caring and understanding co-host, Madison Whalen.
Okay, I can accept that.
I'm okay with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you fit both of those?
I think so. Hi, everybody.
Okay, good. So how you doing today, Maddie?
I'm doing pretty good.
Anything exciting this week?
Ending the marking periods tomorrow.
Oh, cha-ching, that's money time.
You know, when the report card.
Right, when your quarterly bribe comes out.
It's not a bribe.
Hey, I'm not above bribing my kids to do good in school. It's worked so far.
Fair enough.
So today we are talking about compassion through understanding. Compassion is the cornerstone of human interaction. Being compassionate makes us better people. But to be compassionate, we need to be able to better understand and relate to people's emotions and feelings. On today's episode of Insights into Teens, that's exactly what we'll be talking about. But before we do that, I have to beg, borrow, and plead to have our listeners subscribe to the podcast. You can find audio versions of this podcast listed as Insights into Teens. Audio and video versions can be listed as Insights into Things, pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast these days. I would also invite you to write in, give us your feedback. You can email us at comments@insightsintothings.com. You can hit us on Twitter at twitter.com/insights_things, or links to all that and more can be found on our website at www.insightsintothings.com. Are we ready?
Yep.
Here we go. So once again, we're going to the well. I think we'll get a couple more out of kidshealth.org for the research on this one because they were such a great source. They tell us that emotions influence every decision and action we take in life. The complexity of emotions varies depending on the person, circumstances, and environment. The ability to accurately read the emotions of others is a key component to our ability to empathize with others and what triggers compassion in us. In order to understand emotions, it's important to be able to predict people's feelings, then be able to accurately read those feelings. So how do you predict feelings? So imagine yourself in this situation. A friend asked you to a party. You learn that all the girls in your group were invited except for Paula. How do you think Paula will feel when she finds out? Would she be A, angry, B, sad, C, hurt, D, excluded, E, confused, F, nervous, G, embarrassed, or H, would she just be indifferent? Now, you probably came up with your answer by putting yourself in Paula's shoes and imagining how you'd feel. Most people in this situation will feel some or all emotions A through D, angry, sad, hurt, and excluded. It's not as likely that someone who is left out will feel confused, nervous, embarrassed, or indifferent. Being able to predict how people might feel is a part of emotional intelligence, or EQ for short. It's a skill we can all develop with practice, and one we've talked about over the past few episodes on the podcast.
When we understand how other people are likely to feel, it can guide our interactions with them. For example, in the party example above, what if Paula asks, Are you going to Reagan's party? Knowing that she wasn't invited probably influences how you respond. You might say, or avoid saying, any of the following. A. Yes, I'm going. Are you? B. Yes, I'm going. I feel awkward telling you. Is it true that she didn't invite you? C. Yes, everyone's going. D. Of course I'm going. It's going to be the best party of the whole year. E. Yes, I'm sorry you weren't invited. I don't think Reagan meant to hurt your feelings. I heard her parents only allowed her to ask a few people. If you didn't know Paula was invited, you might answer with A, C, or D. Because you don't know the full story, though... Wait, did I say that if you didn't know?
Because you know the full... You did say you didn't, yeah.
Okay, just wanted to be sure.
Just read it the way it's written. It's easier that way.
Because you know the full story, though, you're more likely to consider Paula's feelings and answer with B or E. Answers C and D are the kinds of things you say when you know for sure the other person has been invited.
So the other thing you can do is read body language. Sometimes you get more information about a situation from what a person doesn't say. Part of emotional intelligence is reading the signals people send and not taking them into account. And taking them in. Now you got me all confused.
Sorry.
Part of emotional intelligence is reading the signals people send and taking them into account. Let's say Paula approaches you looking upset and she asks, "Are you going to Reagan's party on Saturday?" Her emotional signals, her body language and facial expression clue you in that Paula knows she wasn't invited. In that situation, you might still answer with option A, but you're probably more likely to choose B or E.
But what if Paula approaches you looking cheerful and says, "Hey, I heard Reagan's having a party this weekend. Are you going?" Based on her body language, you might include, "Oh, she doesn't know and she's expecting an invite." If you have good EQ, you probably feel conflicted about telling Paula you're going to the party when you know she's the only one who's not invited. Even though it's up to Paula to manage her emotions, you probably feel empathy for her. You know that how you respond can help her feel supported or make her feel worse, so you choose your words accordingly.
So how do you think, and we'll go back to our famous scale of 1 to 10, how do you think your ability to read other people's emotions are on that scale of 1 to 10?
I'd say maybe an 8.
You're pretty good at it.
Sure.
Now, is that through intuition? Is that through facial expression and body language? Like, how do you think what clues do you pick up on?
Well, like, if I think any of my friends don't feel great, they normally show it in their expressions, or they show it by not really, like, cracking jokes, or, like, their voice is different, because especially with you and Mommy, I can kind of catch the tones of your voice when I can tell you guys are upset, and that's kind of why sometimes I ask Mommy, "Hey, is something up?" even when, like, nothing's really up, because I kind of know the tone of voice she uses, and I can tell, like, when she's fine, when she gives me a voice that I know that basically signals that she is okay.
And, of course, when she gives you the mom voice, you know she's mad at you.
Yep.
Right? Do I have a dad voice when I'm mad?
You don't bring it out often, but I've heard it. Really what happens is you get a lot less accentuated, your like facial expression is like much more solid and less expressive. Your voice like tends to deepen, or you just scream.
I just scream. So if I'm not screaming and I just look like a clown, then I'm in a good mood then. That's what it sounds like.
Kind of. See, good mood.
So how do you think you are at expressing your feelings without saying your feelings? Do you think you express your feelings through body language, vocal inflection? Do you think you're good at it? Do you think you conceal it? What's your opinion? That would be the wrong camera. Yes, thank you.
Oh, it's fine. You'll fix it in post, probably.
Nah, I'm just going to leave it.
hey, it's for the comedy, I
Bloopers,
guess.
baby. We're going to have a bloopers reel someday.
Yep, someday. At certain points, I definitely think I can make it obvious that I'm not feeling great without saying anything, and then other times, I actively try to conceal it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times you're very blatant about it. How was your day today? It was good, I guess. Oh, you guess. All right, that means we need to talk about it. Hang on, let me settle in for this roller coaster.
Okay, fair enough. I can be pretty blatant in, when I kind of say it. I don't exactly have to say the day was bad, but most of the time I kind of just say, I guess, or it was fine, sorta.
Yeah, it's fairly easy to read it on you. Do you think that Mommy and Daddy do a good job of reading it? And not only do we do a good job of reading it, do we do a good job reacting to it? Because reading it and reacting to it are two very different things.
Well, I definitely think you and Mommy read it pretty well. Because, again, you basically said that it can be pretty obvious when I'm not feeling great, and even Mommy has, her moments when I'm not feeling great, and, she asks me what's wrong. I definitely think we're to a point when, it's much easier, you can, I already, tell you guys how I feel, but even when, I don't want to say anything, you guys can tell, at times. And I feel you and Mommy pretty much do the point, but, I think whenever I do say it's oh, the day's been fine, I guess, that's, I guess a big,
Yeah, we like certainty. We don't like guessing. So your friends, when your friends, and I don't necessarily mean with you, but if you have a friend who's having issues or you feel that they're having issues, do your other friends pick up on it, or do you kind of have to clue them into it being, a bit more empathetic and kind of coach them into how they respond?
I've never really had to coach somebody, I think. And most of the time, I kind of just have one-on-ones with some of my friends if I don't think they're feeling great, because I don't really hang around in big groups. If I don't think someone's feeling great, I'll kind of, sit down and talk with them. And most of the time, it's not really with any other of our friends.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I think we kind of have a firm grasp on how we're going to be reading people's emotions here. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about making sense of people's reactions. We'll be right back.
Insights into Teens, a podcast series exploring the issues and challenges of today's youth. Talking to real teens about real teen problems. Explore issues from braces to puberty, social anxiety to financial responsibility. Each week, we talk about the topics concerning today's youth. We look at how the issues affect teens, how to cope with these issues, and how parents, friends, and loved ones can help teens handle these challenges. Check out our video episodes on youtube.com/insightsintothings. Catch our audio versions on podcast.insightsintoteens.com or on the web at insightsintothings.com.
Welcome back to Insights into Teens. Today we're talking about compassion through understanding. And now we're going to talk about making sense of reactions. The skill of understanding others helps us predict what people might feel in a certain situation, but it also allows us to make sense of how people react. For example, in homeroom at 8 a.m., your friend is smiling, friendly, and full of energy. Later that afternoon, he looks upset, almost like he might cry. Which explanation is your best guess for what might have happened between these two times? A. He had a fight with his girlfriend at lunch and now they're not talking. B. He passed the 4th period algebra exam. C. He just found out he didn't make the final cut for varsity basketball. D. The chemistry teacher assigned a lot of homework. Or E. He probably just had a bad day.
You likely ruled out option B instantly. Emotional intelligence tells you that your friend's reaction looks more like failing an exam than passing. If your friend had a bad day or a lot of homework, options D or E, he might seem stressed out, tired, or worn out, but he probably wouldn't be on the verge of tears. Ruling out those options lets you zero in on what's most likely to be upsetting your friend, either options A or C. People who are skilled at understanding others, I lost my spot. People who are skilled at understanding others imagine another person's feelings. Like, I think he'll feel awful if I say that to him. They're able to relate to how that person reacts to things. Oh, I completely get what she got angry like that over. No wonder. Understanding how others feel, act, and react helps us build better relationships. Boy, I stumbled through that one, didn't I? Jeez.
Yep, you did. It's all good.
All you on this one. Take us out strong here.
Thank you. So how exactly do you build this skill? It's not always easy to predict or understand how someone else feels. Some people are better at it than others, but just about everyone can improve with practice. Wow, that's the big thing with all this, I guess.
Keep practicing.
Understanding others is all about watching and listening. It starts with watching, not while they sleep.
That's creepy.
If you see someone trip and fall, you probably wince, ouch, as if that happened to you. We have a natural tendency to sense what others feel just by watching them. Scientists think there's a biological reason for this. They believe that brain cells called, quote, mirror neurons activate in the same way whether we do something ourselves or watch another person do it.
I guess I probably should have read this script over. It's kind of rough the way it's written. Huh? Anyway, try these ways to develop your observation skills. Look at people's expressions and body language. Next time you're at the mall, in the coffee shop, or on the subway or bus, try this. Look around and try to identify how people might be feeling based on their body language, their facial expressions, and what they're doing. The girl with the textbooks on her knee might have an exam coming up. Does she seem confident or overstressed? What about the guy with his eyes closed? Is he feeling peaceful, tired, or upset? Read books, watch movies that have realistic portrayals of human emotions. Pay attention to how different characters feel and act. Try to understand why the characters feel the way they do. Based on those emotions, predict what a character will do next. Or see if you could explain why a character did what he or she did.
The skill also improves with listening. People who are good at understanding others are usually good listeners. Research shows that the better someone listens, the more connected that person feels with the person who is talking. This produces a feeling of bonding and closeness. Most of us rate ourselves as good listeners. After all, listening seems like such a simple, basic thing to do. But often we're so busy thinking of what we want to say that we don't listen as much as we'd like. Here are some ways to build good listening skills. The first being to practice listening well in everyday conversations. Really pay attention to what the other person is saying. Train yourself to think of listening as more important than talking.
Tune into your feelings. Tune into feelings as well as story. When a friend tells you about something, try to imagine how he or she might have felt. Make statements that show you're trying to understand your friend's experience, like, oh, that must have felt amazing, or that must be upsetting for you. You'll absolutely notice that you feel closer, more in sync with the person. You might find you can predict what your friend will say next. Take time to listen to someone in depth. Interview a friend or family member about a special time in their life. For example, ask your parents about their wedding day, or get your grandparents to tell you about having their first grandchild. Try to imagine what the experience was really like for them. Ask them to tell you more about how they felt and why. So have you ever done that? Have you ever actually sat down and interviewed anyone and tried to get kind of a deeper story from them on things?
I mean, the biggest example I can get is with you guys, because I've asked you at various points kind of about your past, like how you guys first met, what was your wedding like, what was giving birth to me like, how were your...
I can't answer that one. That's totally mommy. That's a mommy question.
How were your lives before you guys met each other? How were your childhoods? How was my childhood? What kind of child was I like?
And how did that work out for you? Did you feel like you were getting the information you want? Did you get any emotion from it, or was it just a fact-finding mission?
I mean, I did definitely get a lot of emotion for it, like with Mommy talking about your guys' first date and, the emotions she was feeling at that time, or you talking about your life as a child and your and how like you and your feelings towards all your family members.
That bad, huh?
I mean, I'm sorry, but your dad doesn't seem like the best guy.
Yeah, he was. Anyway, we'll move on. So how are you at listening? Do you think you're a good listener?
Yeah.
Give an example.
So my one friend, and I at lunch, we kind of use that time